Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our worldwide audience, IIUans. I, Professor Nada Ratkovic, the co-founder of IIU Europe, the president of IIU Research Center, country director Croatia, board member of IIU, heartily welcome you all with a big and warm greetings. Love to encompass you all from the International Internship University on this auspicious occasion of the G20 Summit 2023, jointly organized by International Internship University with G20 International. Envisaged topic for today, international taxation with the presidency, reform, reshape, restructure, and reconstitute the international tax architecture. So today we will celebrate, collaborate, communicate, catalyze the changes to contribute to the citizenship, community, and country. We welcome all the researchers, experts, leaders, innovators, and change makers today again with you. But before we start, let me introduce our organizer. Piyush Pandit, the visionary educationist, always had a dream to provide education to every learner across the world. He believes that the world is changing drastically, so there is a need to make changes in the education system. Every day, something new. So, with this thought, Sir Piyush Pandit concocted the world's first digital internship university, International Internship University, in 2020. IIU is providing quality, skill-based, affordable, accessible, location-independent, and skill-based digital education to all the learners across the globe, along with internship opportunities, research facilities, through its 1,000+ virtual courses to all learners across the globe, through the platform of massive open online courses with the aim of promoting internship opportunities and research facilities to its learners. IIU has been accredited, affiliated with the World Education Organization, WEO, International Accreditation Organization, IAO, with United Nations and collaborating with the world's top universities and educational institutions. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries, 6 continents, with a team of 1,000+ experienced and qualified global educators across the world. IIU is registered in India, Australia, Nepal, and with USA government. Digital education by International Internship University is for all, without any hurdles, as per the own wish of the learners, without any financial stress, which is easily accessible in every corner of the world. Today, let me start with our amazing group of 20G20. Group 20G20 is a paramount platform for fostering international economic cooperation, pivotal in shaping and fortifying the global framework and governance concerning crucial economic matters worldwide. India, proudly assuming the presidency of G20 from December 1, 2022 to November 30, 2023, is embracing the opportunity to spread out the changes. So, I want to say here that this amazing project is guided by the resolute leadership of Dr. Srividhya Sukumar from the United Arabian Emirates, and with unwavering support from the esteemed International Internship University, the core committee and team, and we are prepared to unveil a transformative initiative. IIU is poised to launch an empowering endeavor to revolutionize the world of women, social entrepreneurs. Additionally, we are setting to convene an esteemed worldwide think tank to foster comprehensive discussions to achieve equality for all and equal world education and opportunities for all the individuals. With the upcoming G20 summit being organized virtually, we have to appreciate this opportunity to transcend geographical boundaries and bring together brilliant minds from all corners of the globe. We can pave the way for a future where everyone can thrive through collaboration, innovation, and collective determination. Let us join hands, united in our pursuit of the world where every individual, irrespective of their gender or circumstances, can unleash their full potential and contribute to the progress and prosperity of our global community. Together, we can make a lasting impact and create a legacy of equality for generations. So, let me now call our great core team member, Dr. Virginia Riviera. So, Dr. Virginia, please welcome.
Thank you so much. I hope that you're all doing well. I know that I am just starting my day here in sunny Puerto Rico. I am very excited to be here another Sunday of momentous G20. I want to thank you all for really accepting me here and having me here today. And I want to introduce our amazing team. We have a team that constantly is pushing the boundaries of education, seeking new ways to enhance their learning experience and make it more accessible and inclusive for everybody. Let me start by introducing our greatest professor, Nada. You just met her. And as you know, she is a force to be reckoned with around the world. She comes from Croatia. And as she said before, she's the president of our IIU Research Center. I also would like to introduce to you Ermina Rosco. She is from Romania. She's the president of the Women's Entrepreneurship Council, and she's the vice president of James International School. With us also, Dr. Snigdha Kadum, and she is our project coordinator, and she is the principal of James International School. We also have Inga. Inga comes from us from Georgia. She is the president of IIU Europe, and she is also a master teacher from Georgia. With us today also is Dr. Sandy Balahi, our esteemed leader here with us today. And she is actually going to be receiving each one of our speakers today. And our project leader, that's Dr. Srividhya Sukumar. She's an educationist, a mentor, and a coach from the United Arabian Emirates. And she is definitely our greatest leader today. Again, my name is Virginia Rivera, and I am a core team member, and I come from the area of Caribbean. I also would like to talk to you about our community partners. Our community partners are two very important groups. One is the GSFN, and they have been established to provide a common platform that helps its members, financial institutions benefit from opportunities emerging through transformation to sustainable economy. They support their members in developing capacities to integrate sustainability across the board. They foster initiatives that help build public-private partnerships. They promote sustainability, lending, and investment. They offer networking opportunities to member financial institutions. They do multilateral organizations, the government bodies, business and industry, and other stakeholders for sharing experiences and ideas. This group also provides a forum to support the development and execution of sustainable finance policies and practices. They present a marketplace for members to promote their sustainable finance expertise, business ideas, products and services, and to search for partners to develop and execute programs, projects, and activities. They perform any other task that promotes sustainable finance. Thank you. Our other group is IGEN. The 74 million young Americans born between 1995 and 2012 comprise the most important generation in the nation's history, both in size and composition. 1 out of 4 Americans from age 5 to 22 have been collectively dubbed the iGen generation, a shortened descriptor for internet generation. The iGen handle won over numerous other suggested names, namely Generation Z, which was doomed to failure because there was no other generation to call itself the letter before. That generation of those born between 1981 and 1995 became better known as millennial. Other Generation Z replacements are Homeland Generation, Centennials, Post-Millennial, the Founders, iGeneration, and no others, I'm sure, but all of them fell and were not of public opinion. That a generation has its own moniker is far from unusual, giving the names of population groups from the past. Those several periods that we call generations, ranging from 12 and 25 years ago, were known as the lost generation, the interbellum generation, the greatest generation, the silent generation, and its subset, war babies, baby boomers, Generation X, and the ever famous millennials. Not only has this group become the largest social cohort, outnumbering millennials and baby boomers together, the iGen generation, or the iGeners, is also the most ethnically diverse generation compared to its predecessor. So thank you to our community partners. Thank you, Professor Nala.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Riviera. Now, I want to invite our amazing project director, Dr. Srividhya Sukumar. So welcome, Dr. Srividhya. We really like you coming from United Arab Emirates and doing this amazing project. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nada. Thank you, Dr. Virginia. That was very kind of you. Well, we will brief about the topic a little later as our chief guests have to go as a chief guest for another function. May I please take the privilege of inviting and presenting before you Her Excellency, Madam LAILA Rahhal Al ATFANI. She is a president and founder of BusinessGate. I am Africa Platform Business Incubator for SMEs. She is President Women and Youth Empowerment for International Diplomat Relations of AACID. She's the head of diplomacy and protocol WBC. Talking about startups, leadership, empowering women, business collaboration, and digital transformation. Ma'am's motto is that recognizing and harnessing women's strengths will not only enhance individual women lives, but also revolutionize our society and our world. That's what she says. That's the motto that she follows. So ma'am has been a goodwill ambassador. She has been the international ambassador of peace and tolerance. Madam is again the goodwill ambassador of Future Leaders Model UN Turkey. Madam is the ambassador of humanity. Madam is a brand ambassador of BQ Germany. Madam is a brand ambassador of XS7 Germany. Madam is a global ambassador of EARP Sierra Leone. Madam is a brand ambassador of Oyster Magazine. Madam is the brand ambassador of Explore Journal Magazine India. Madam is art brand ambassador of Art for You Gallery. Awards and recognitions, to name a few, please, ma'am. Wow Records, Wow Awards, the Voice Award, Shri Award Dubai, Wellness and Health Award Dubai, Mavla Awards Turkey, Oscar of Best Entrepreneur Morocco, the Most Inspiring Women Award, Oyster Magazine Award, and won the Best Ambassador for UAE Africa. Thank you, ma'am. It's always a privilege having you always on our show, and it's our honor to have you with us today, amidst us today. Ma'am, you're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Srividhya. We love you. Thank you to everyone who is here. This beautiful platform. All what you say, wrap it in one word. I'm a good friend to G20, and I'm honored and blessed to be part always for the conferences and summit you do, IIU, because you are the knowledge maker. Honorable guests, honorable partnership, honorable people who are here in this platform. It's amazing to be with high caliber speaker, with the people who are oriented always to give the knowledge and to boost the humanity in a business and in humanity philanthropist field. Education and knowledge is more important. As she said, doctor, we are handling the startup. We welcome you, all of you, to Dubai, the land of opportunity, UAE, which is friendship with India always and the globe. All the nations are all most welcome for any collaboration, especially now, the topic, fabulous you are presenting. We need people like you to teach us and to put spot and highlight for the tax, because we are starting that in UAE. Second, always we need a friendhood and a people with the knowledge to guide us and to give us a consultancy. That's mean collaboration is well demanded and partner strategicship is well demanded. The door is open for any opportunity, as we are linked always with G20 and International Internship University is one of the high caliber we always refer to. So in the life we say, good friends is the best, but the partnership is more best because the partnership is monetizing and friendship is just warming the heart. We need both of them. Humanity is unity and diversity is inclusion. That diversity make us learn from each other, no matter it is, which color skin, which religion, which party, whom you are, which degree, which level, we need always together. Hand by hand, we make the world better. We learn from you and you give us always the red carpet with G20 to another talents, with others partners, with others people from all over the world. Thank you so much. Spasiba, merci beaucoup, and Tika in Indian. God bless you. It's an honor always discussing with you. Doctor, you rock it, and I'm so proud of you with all your people. Thank you to the management. Thank you to the sponsorship. Thank you to everyone and each one making change and challenge and impact in this beautiful platform. We need you for new generation. You need you for future leader. We need you for the businessman. We just signed a big contract in London with a global trader from Latino area. So we need you to tie up a hand with us because we have 165 countries we are bringing to spot in Dubai. Especially we have the COP28 is coming for sustainability and climate change. And we need always knowledge. Thank you, G20. Thank you, IIU. We love you. God bless you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. We love you forever as ever, really. Your presence over here amidst us today has been a greatest privilege and honor, and we will take it further. Definitely, as you mentioned, we'll work for collaborations, we'll work for partnerships, and we will collaborate to move forward. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for your precious time. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Thank you so much. Yeah, moving further, coming back to the topic that we were discussing, that's the topic for the today. The global financial architecture refers to the framework of the institutions and agreements and the mechanisms that govern the international financial transactions, monetary policy coordination, and the financial stability. It encompasses various international organizations such as International Monetary Fund, IMF, World Bank, and the Bank of the International Settlements, BIS, as well as the regional financial institutions and bilateral agreements and so on, to work on macroeconomy policy coordination, financial regulation and reforms, international trade and investment, development and global governance. The G20 operates through annual summits where leaders and representations voice the developing countries in the global economic governance. So G20 operates these kind of annual summits where leaders and policymakers meet to discuss these issues and release statements outlining their collective commitments and policy directions. When a business activity crosses national borders, the question arises of where the profits from that activity should be taxed. In principle, there are at least three possibilities for assigning a taxing right. Source, the countries where the production takes place. Residence, the countries where a company is deemed to reside. Destination, the countries where the sales takes place. So generally applied tax architecture for determining where profits are taxed is now nearly 100 years old and designated for the world in which the more trade was in physical goods or trade or made less significant contribution to the world GDP and the global value chains were not particularly complex. So this chapter on today briefly entices the traditional architecture belonging to the tax commitment and sets the stage for the following chapters that provide more detailed explanations and sets of various possible approaches to developing a framework better suited to economic circumstances, one which could potentially be perceived as fairer among countries that now play different roles in the global scenario and the value chains. So moving ahead, relating it to today's topic of international taxation on trade and investments and exports and imports, with its presidency as reform, reshape, and restructure and reconstitute the international tax architecture. We have initiated the topics for discussion, and our pointers of deliberation will be tax and the environment by Dr. Herbert Mandla Mtowo, who is yet to join us, who will be joining us very soon, who is a founder and visionary Africa Entrepreneurs Network, life and business coach, international relations, and ambassador at International Nations. Secondly, we have tax certainty and the progress of carbon pricing, which will be presented by Professor John Estes, who is SDG4 Global Ambassador, CEO, founder, mentor for startups and NGOs, and especially for ESG gesture, and also for steering committee member, and also a professor and MBA author speaker. Thank you so much, Professor. Thanks for joining us. It will be a great pleasure to hear from you soon. Thirdly, we have enlisted the topic as base erosion and profit sharing, which is BEPS, which will be presented by Dr. Suchitra, who will be joining us from IGEN Global. Pointer number 4, Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes. Mr. Balakrishnan will be joining us. Balaji Krishnan will be joining us, who is the Managing Director of Rangamani Associates, Chartered Accountants with the head office at Kottayam, Kerala branch, and also from different parts of Kerala, that is Chenganari, Kanjinapalli, and Kottapalayam, Truvalla, and Ernakulam. And pointer 5, addressing the challenges arising from the digitalization of the economy. Professor Gusto Alves will join us. Professor, thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you so much for joining us so early. And pointer number 6, green finance for sustainable solutions will be dealt by Ms. Divya Sumani, who is an insolvency professional, FCA, CSDISA, diploma in IFRCS, and ACCA UK, who is a certified concurrent auditor and certified peer reviewer. So the insights shared by the experts on the above pointers will aim to contribute the archives of the policies that will expand to include the things 7 recommendations for action, which will try and lay the foundation for the resilient and inclusive financial growth and the tax architecture, and the need for collaborative and swift efforts will ensure a more sustainable future. The highlight will be on the need of resilient systems that can effectively respond to emergencies while addressing the broader global economic issues. So we welcome you all to join us on this collaborative effort. So let's celebrate, collaborate, communicate, and catalyst change to contribute to the citizenship. On that note, I would open the forum to the speakers of today, and I would request Ma'am Sandhya Balaji to take over the meeting. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ms. Sandhya. Thank you.
Greetings of the day, and let us begin with our topics of deliberation. May we begin with the pointer tax certainty and progress with carbon pricing. We all know what carbon pricing and what carbon footprints are. So providing tax certainty involves creating stable and predictable tax policies. And when the tax policies are clear, it ensures lower emissions of carbon in the industries. And also, by these effective carbon pricing mechanism, governments can create a framework that not only supports environment sustainability, but also fosters economic growth through a green innovation and responsible consumption. So to talk more about this and in detail, we have with us Professor Dr. Jose Estes, who's an accomplished entrepreneur and CEO of Exponentialist platform. He has a strong academic background and diverse experience. He excels in corporate strategy, education, and public administration. Professor Estes is a recognized figure in third sector and CSR initiatives. He's known for his impactful social programs and fundraising campaigns. He's also a sought-after speaker, prolific author, and a driving force in sustainable development. He's a UN Specialist in Sustainable Development, which shows his dedication to shape a better future. His accolades include National Child Award in Social Education and Burn Efficiente Price. So we welcome you, Doctor, and welcome you to share your inputs on carbon pricing and tax policies.
Well, good morning, everyone from Brazil. I do understand that depending on the country that we are, have the opportunity of this gathering of minds today, like I used to say, it will be good afternoon and probably good night. It is really an honor to be here for the third consecutive time in order to join this outstanding group of professors, educators, lecturers in a very, let's say, a myriad of possibilities to get these advices, these expertise coming from the agenda into action worldwide. The particular subject of today that I am addressing probably is one of the key points of what's going on in terms of economy around the globe, because it is related to carbon marketing. So everything that is connected to these green financing initiatives will be a must in the coming years. I believe it will be also a boost to entrepreneurship, innovation in different areas. So it is really an honor to be here. I'm really proud to discuss further this subject with you. I will put my email and my LinkedIn contact, so you will be able to follow me or to connect with me in order to exchange some other ideas in the present and in the coming future about this subject. So thank you very much for your invitation again, and I will ask your permission to share a screen with a humble and a small presentation to discuss about this very important subject that we have, not only in terms of finance and economy globally, but of course, in terms of climate change and how to achieve a more sustainable future. Thank you very much. Let's see. So I'm trying to share the screen here. Okay, sorry for a possible small delay in my presentation, and I will put on a presentation mode. Okay, here comes. Are you able to see it in an appropriate way?
Please move this, use graphite. You need to click on that. It is not a full mode, please. You have a restriction,
Okay.
so I'll wear it. You can click.
Okay. Okay, let's see what happened today.
Yes.
I will share again the screen.
Yes, and then you will see that it is writing avoid.
Let's see.
Okay. You see?
Okay.
You see under, yes, click on that ativar and Brazil. Please click on that.
Okay.
That you need to move, yes?
I am clicking
So
on
try
this.
now. So try now.
Let's see. Ativar or act negative. New share.
No, you still didn't move it. We don't see it.
Okay, well, let's see if I can make it in a different way here.
So why don't you click this? It is writing on your language, Ativar. Click on that.
No, I just cannot see in my
You don't
screen.
see it. We see it.
Yeah.
You don't see.
Okay.
It is under the toolbar.
I will try to.
On the top.
It is under the toolbar when you open the presentation. We see it. You don't see your screen. That is a problem. So you cannot move it if you don't see it. So please, if you cannot, you can continue.
Again.
You can continue on that way. Okay, go up with the mouse. Go up.
Yes.
Little down.
Here.
A little down and left.
Okay.
We cannot do it.
Oh.
Okay, you can continue on that way. We cannot help you now if you don't see.
Okay, well, I don't know what is happening today. I am proceeding just like I have proceeded before. Let's see if I can make it happen again. Okay, I'll try to share my screen. And I will try to make Portion of screen files, maps. Okay, let's try to do this. Share. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. And okay. Now you're able to see it?
We see it, but not in a full mode.
We are able to see it. Professor.
Now it will come. It is coming. Yes, you click. Yes, now it is great. You can do it now. Yes. Now it is.
Thank you very much for your patience. And sometimes this happens with the technology, you know. I was just proceeding like the other meetings that we had, but we had a small problem. So let's try to start this conversation about driving sustainable progress with carbon pricing. I am Professor Dr. José Luis Esteves. I believe I will be able to escape all this stuff because I have been really well introduced by our team at IIU and G20. I got the opportunity here to talk again about a very important subject and matter in terms of finance and economy globally. I would like always to make a bridge, a real bridge with the SDG 4, that is quality education. And I'm proudly received the honor to be considered one of the chairs by GSFN, that is a network, a supporting network for this gathering also today. So thank you very much. And then I will start, just like the couple of my last presentations here, with an image that I like the most, because I do really believe that it represents very, with a particular, sense of humor, something that was tragical, because I am, for those that cannot see on an appropriate way, showcasing the image of our planet art, our mother art, wearing a face mask, probably a reality that was so common during especially the hardest time of our COVID-19 pandemic. So the past 3 years that we have faced this global pandemic that started in a small city called Wuhan in China in the beginning of the year 2020, and from there spread out around the globe. In terms of education, as I like to pinpoint in every presentation that I do, probably the education sector was the second most affected, because, with the exception of the health sector, where we had all professionals, coming to the front line, to the battlefront of COVID-19, the education sector probably suffered the most, because we had, according to UNESCO, around 1.5 billion students outside the classroom for a period of almost 2 years. So this is something that we have to ask ourselves. The future arrived and brought us a hard impact in terms of the global society. Of course, I will be able to talk a little bit more about what is going on, or to give you an expectation, to build some possible reliable scenario in terms of what's going on here in Brazil, that is a continental country, but also in Latin America and in our Latin American Caribbean region. But no matter if we're talking about Latin America, if you're talking about Europe or Asia, if you're talking about Middle East, this COVID-19 pandemic launched a new wave of possibilities that we will have to accomplish in order to change our behavior and help to achieve a more sustainable future. So this is something that I would like to make also as a possible connection. It is like a network of words that we have that sounds so familiar, no matter if we are talking about economy, no matter if we are talking about environment. So the evolving landscape of international taxation will make us to navigate into the complexities of international taxation as something that is crucial for global business indeed. If we move ahead a little bit, we will probably foresee that the challenges and opportunities that arise in cross-border transactions are from this moment that we have started this pandemic in the year 2020 mostly, but now in this year 2023, that is the first year that we are considering worldwide as a post-pandemic year, because we have a very effective control about the COVID-19 pandemic itself. Transactions are emphasizing the need for tax certainty, especially to foster a stable and transparent, more transparent business environment. Of course, when we talk about transparent business environment, we put in place a word that was so familiar in the past 10 years, that is compliance. But what was designed in the initial period of the compliance was the aspects of the compliance is driving the business in terms of financial stability. And now we have to foresee and to add some spice, like I used to say, to see compliance as another dimension that has to bring, especially all the aspects that are related to climate change and the impacts that we have in the environment. According to some scientists and very important researchers we have around the globe, probably, maybe, we could be, dangerously approaching the point of no return. It means that we have to address framework like conscious consumption, 5 R's, in order to put a step back in the way we are consuming today, to skip the possibility of achieving this point of no return. Where every effort that we will be making in the coming future will no longer be, it will be no longer make us to achieve a more sustainable future just the way we imagine to. So if we go forward, it is really necessary to point out that tax certainty is a way to foster clarity and confidence, as I like to say, because certainty in taxation is on a key aspect essential for business individuals alike, and offers the certainty offers a clear tax obligation, promoting confidence and compliance, just I have said some minutes ago. So we will be dealing with a new compliance, let's say, perspective globally, and that's why it's so important to bring this tax certainty to present discussion today. It is necessary to bring the certainty to support cross-border investments and to especially reduce legal uncertainties. This is really a key point that I would like to highlight the most. Well, if we talk about carbon pricing, we can summarize and simplify by going as an innovative approach to climate change, because carbon pricing shall be addressed as a proactive strategy, especially not only, but especially to combat climate change. And the carbon pricing, the concept of internalizing external carbon costs would be probably a key, in my perception, a key driver to boost sustainable practice, to encourage business to adopt a greener technology. And if this is the case, and if this is the track we all are trying to achieve, and probably we will be able to, as our dear fellow Dr. Renuka Thakur from the United Kingdom tell us every time, in a global sustainable future through network to achieve our most desired sustainable future. And we are talking when we put, in place on a not only not private economic perspective, the integration of tax certainty and carbon pricing probably will unlock the synergy between taxation and environmental sustainability in order to enhance the effectiveness of carbon price initiatives, and with this connected together drive economic growth. And I'm not only talking about what is going on in terms of the global economy, but of course I'm talking about especially the climate change agenda that we'll have to address urgently to put our dots in connection and in place. Of course, to embrace a greener future will demand global cooperation. We are not in a perspective to foresee in the coming future things in the different broad of dimensions, like we have been discussing this Sunday's gathering here in our network. Like I used to say, our mind gathering of the Sundays. We cannot go further thinking at the same way, in the same point that we were back in the bottom end of the year 2019 and the beginning of the year 2020, where we had this global COVID-19 pandemic kicking off. So governments, international bodies, industries, they shall collaborate to streamline tax regulations and to align specifically financial objectives with sustainable practices. It will be no longer a matter of what I do to achieve a more sustainable economy with Brazil, what I will do to achieve a more sustainable economy with US or with a country in Europe or in Asia, in the Middle East. No, this is something that we will have to put in place and connect the dots together. So why unlock economic growth through sustainability? Because we must trigger innovation and sustainable practices as a direct result business that will leverage their opportunities for growth. We are talking about a dissemination of practices in terms of business worldwide that is exponentially increasing with the discussion of the open innovation and an assorted range of possibilities that was brought to us in these after pandemic time, just like for example the AI, the artificial intelligence and the generative intelligence systems that were put in place also to drive the organization's growth. So this is something that we have to pay attention to and probably to use it as a boost in our way to think ahead and to drive or to establish what would be the key drivers to achieve this sustainable future altogether at the same time. Of the issues, we talk about carbon markets in Latin America to make a brief highlight. Of the issues discussed at COP26, the carbon market is drawing the most attention in the region, just as I have highlighted in the beginning of my speech, and mainly for one clear reason. Latin America and Caribbean can position themselves as the world's largest providers of carbon credits. This is, of course, something that is really easy to understand with the map, with a drafted map of the locations of existing, emerging, and considered carbon pricing instruments. So there are a bunch of nations that are trying to position in this carbon market world in order to develop what will be probably a new key driver for economic growth in our countries. And so that's why I would like to highlight into detach Latin America and this portion. This is something because Latin America carbon black market attained a value of almost 500 millions in the year 2021. And the regional market is projected to grow at a rate of 5.8, almost 6% between 23, the year that we are now, and the year 2028. So there is a very huge growth perspective in terms of carbon credits and the carbon markets in Latin America, and the fact that if we became in the coming future, the principal providers of these credits, the positioning of the world economies may change a very, very in a perspective that we have never saw before. So this is something that we have to keep an eye open to. And 68 CPIs were enforced worldwide. CPI is a carbon pricing instrument covering 20.5%, 21.5% of global emissions. There are 36 carbon taxes and 32 emission trading systems in place at this particular moment in the year 2023. In the Latin American region, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Argentina are front runners in this process, along with Brazil, of course. And I would like also to make a more concise, point with this deep dive that I'm trying to do here in terms of carbon marketing, addressing the position of Latin America. Similarly, Argentina and Brazil are capitalizing the momentum and have begun improving their carbon pricing instruments, despite of the fact that, as you all probably know, we are dealing with very different economic situations and momentums. Brazil on the top and running up to the top, Argentina with serious economic problems arising at the same time. But, it could be probably a strategic thought of the Argentinians to address this question of the carbon market in Latin America and try to, reposition the way the country will be possible contributing with this in this coming future. In total, almost 6% of the, GHG emissions in Brazil are subject to a positive net effective carbon rate, or ECR, as we know, in the year 2020 to 21. And this is something really interesting because everything that is related to GHG emission was unchanged back into the year 2000, up to the year 2000, or down to the year 2018. So Brazil ratified the Paris Agreement in 2016 with ambitious commitment to reduce its GHG emissions by 37%. It is really an incredible number to put on the center of the table until the year 2025, and 43% up to the year 2030. So below 2005 levels by increasing the share of sustainable biofuels in energy mix to around 18%, making renewables, excluding, of course, hydropower, 45% of the energy sources by the year 2030, and mostly restoring and reforesting 12 million hectares of forests, restoring 50 million of hectares of degraded pasture lands, and enhancing about 5 million hectares of integrated cropland livestock forestry. So this is a very ambitious plan that we have conceived and drive as a goal in the COP 26, but this is something that is achievable And if we get there, probably we are talking about Brazil as a key carbon market player in this very upcoming moment in time. Global cooperation and the global ahead. Navigating the road ahead we require, as we can imagine, especially in this after pandemic, deep and refined understanding, like I like to say, of international collaboration. And the global impact of tax certainty and carbon pricing will connect, in my humble opinion, the dots, or may connect the dots between the importance of cross-border cooperation and how collective efforts can shape a more sustainable world. And this is a fact very clear, because we all shall urge to embrace a certain equitable and sustainable future. We need to embrace a holistic approach towards a more comprehensive understanding of how tax certainty and carbon pricing are redefining, especially redefining international and the subject of international taxation. So we urge to discover the potential of a brighter future through this global unity that I am pursuing here in this Sunday morning for a sustainable world. There are some conclusions coming to an end, of course, but certainly we have a lot to talk about first in this subject. One of them is the concept of the tax certainty and progress with carbon pricing is really a dynamic force that will transcend borders, foster collaboration between nations and all kinds of industries. Second one, by embracing this approach, we not only address the pressing challenges of taxation and environmental sustainability, but we also, at the same time, unlock the potential for economic growth and global cooperation. This is something that is like a Bible in my hands every time that I am, asked to talk about what do you foresee as a possible economic and sustainable dimension in financial markets worldwide and globally. I say we will have to look closely the issue and the challenges of taxation and bring them as a new key driver to uphold our sustainability challenges too. And as we navigate the intricate web of international taxation, the nexus with carbon pricing paves the way for a more certain, equitable, and sustainable future. I would like to thank you very much for your kind patience to listen what I bring here up to this table. I have also written a small test, and I probably will finish an article, and I will bring G20 and IIU to this umbrella of this, the umbrella of this article too. We are here at Exponentialis. Exponentialis is a platform of change-making education. It's an ed tech. It's a company, a startup that we have founded in the year 2019, and we are trying to connect all these dots in terms of, especially to mitigate the gap between public and private education systems and learning here in Brazil, but also to provide reliable information in other subjects that are related to education worldwide. So our training, advisory, and research service are at your hands. I thank you very much. I thank you all these persons that are probably at this very moment, awake to and listening and watching what we have in our channels, like we have in YouTube, a live streaming right now. These are some of my contacts, so you can, follow me and you can contact me anytime. I'll be more than happy to share my thoughts and reflect with you on this subject and in other subjects that I hopefully will have the chance to experience, discuss here in this bright network with you. Thank you very much again, and a warm, really warm greeting from Brazil to you all. So I will now stop sharing and bring back to my live mode. And hopefully I got enough attention to bring this subject to a coming discussion in this future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. That was quite informative as such. It was a very comprehensive presentation. That's what I would say. That starting from the carbon prints and relating it to the entrepreneurship and also about the finance challenges that you have addressed it. Though you addressed it from the country of Brazil, I think it had some global influence as well. So adding on to it, definitely, I think we should agree on the fact that in practice, essentially, every country taxes active business income deemed sourced from within, and provided that an activity giving rise to the income is sufficiently and closely linked to the country's economy and the standards of the current international architecture, finance architecture. Sorry, the word finance, I just missed. That's a very vital word there. So this typically requires a degree of physical presence, and in the world of commodities and also the physical goods in the pro-digital age. And this is so-called the permanent establishment, or otherwise they called it as, they just term it as nexus concept. Hope people will agree with me that the legal incorporation in every country, not only Brazil, but across the globe, normally the world constitute this, and as a world of physical business locations contribute a vital thing as an influence or the catalyst in talking about the degrees of activities and also the other activities, entrepreneurship and the business finance, which is involved therein. Thank you so much, Professor. That was quite informative. And moving ahead, can we have the next speaker on board, please? Madam, over to Madam Sandhya Balaji. Thank you so much. You're muted, Madam Sandhya, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so our next pointer is to talk about base erosion and profit shifting. So basically, this concept means it refers to a set of tax planning strategies that are used by many multinational corporations to exploit the gaps and mismatch in tax rules between different countries. So the goal of BEPS, or base erosion and profit shifting, is to minimize the taxes a company pays by shifting from high tax jurisdictions to low tax or tax-free jurisdiction, often where little or no business activity takes place. Some of this concept, an aspect of this concept that helps attaining certain SDGs can be to address reduced inequality, to bring in peace, justice, and strong institutions, to bring in partnership for the goals, and also decent work and economic growth. So it also addresses the no poverty goal event consequently. And yes, to talk about this in more detail, we have with us Dr. B. Suchitra, who is part of IGEN. She has received a management doctorate from Madras University and currently the Dean of Events and Associate Professor in Management at Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. And her passion, being a soft skill trainer, is to counsel and motivate students to achieve their goals. So she's published 10 publications in Scopus and also published 2 or 3 book chapters. She's received the Best Teacher Award in the year 2016 and 2018. And she's a person of, she's a research-oriented person, and she's appeared as guest in seminars and as a guest lecturer in workshops and FDPs. We welcome you to this evening, ma'am, to share your inputs on base erosion and profit shifting.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I think you can see my screen.
Ma'am, can you be little louder?
Ma'am, can you see my screen?
You have not shared the screen yet.
No, we don't see and we don't hear you good also.
One second, I'll share the screen.
Your mic, your voice, something is not good. Are you trying to share?
Yes, ma'am, I'm trying to share.
Okay. Ma'am, I'll share it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you hear my voice?
Now it's better. It's better.
One second.
Ah.
But you have to be a little louder, ma'am, please. Your voice
Yes,
is very feeble.
Yes,
I'm trying to share it.
yes.
Dr. Suchitra, can we hear you again?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear my voice?
It is
audible?
better. It is better.
it's
Yes,
okay?
it is better. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen now.
Yes, ma'am. Can you?
Yeah. Okay. Hope it's loading.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am Suchitra, Dean Evans, and I'm working in MGR Educational Research University. Today, I'm going to discuss about base erosion and profit shifting. See, why this particular concept is, ma'am, I can't, you have to move the slide, it seems, as you have shared. Yes. See, base erosion is the concept. I'm audible.
You are audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Yes, thank you so much. Base erosion and profit shifting, why this particular concept has introduced us, there should be some tax rules, regulations should be, is mismatching. To avoid this mismatching, this particular concept was framed, and this avoiding strategy is done mainly in multinational companies. So why this particular concept is, a number of multinational companies have started in so many countries. So to exploit the gaps and mismatches in tax rules, this BEPS, that is base erosion profit shifting, is done. Second slide, ma'am, please. And you have this profit sharing, different profit sharing in BEPS, that is transfer mispricing. We have to know what transfer mispricing means: manipulating or fraud transfer pricing. First concept is manipulating. Manipulating means mismatches in your taxes and some irrelevant documents the multinational companies will be providing. To avoid that, this transfer mispricing is the first concept we have implemented. And second is DTAA. DTAA means double taxation avoid agreement. See, I'm a person who is paying tax and I'm dealing with different companies. Even they will also pay the tax. Why this is occurring by double payment is the information is not transparent. That is the main reason which we are in transparency of your information. Next is treaty shopping. Treaty shopping means individuals indirectly paying. They won't have any direct payment. We can't guess for what sake they have paid this taxes. Actually, that is the reason we created this BEPS, to know, to have the transparency, to know the transaction. For all this concept we have done. And inflating invoice. Inflating invoice means modifying the inflation. You're going to totally manipulate your taxes. It is totally, you have to give irrelevant information. They are doing this. Why? Means multinational companies will be earning more profit, but they will hide so many informations and they will give you the fake detail. That is the reason inflating invoice. And Binami transaction. See, big legends and big businessmen and all, we know that everyone will have properties, countless properties. For in their name, it is there means definitely you have to pay tax for the government. To avoid that, some trustworthy person or a legally approved person, they used to have the name transaction. That is the only reason. And next is your round tripping. Round tripping means one company. For example, I'm a person who is going to get the product or property for around 10 lakhs. And after 2 years, in the year 2016, I am selling the property to another person in amount of 10 lakhs. And I'm after 2018, I'm getting back the same property in my name, the same amount without any interest or without paying any tax. This is one way of modification, which we are doing, which the countries are doing. For what sake is the only thing is to avoid the taxation. To avoid all this taxation only, the transparent information should be there. That is the only concept BEPS motive. Second slide, ma'am. And next is backdrop. Backdrop is the concept, next ma'am, next. Backdrop is the concept OCED. OCED means Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Why BEPS is introduced is in the year of 2008, we faced a financial crisis. So when we are facing financial crisis only, we came to know that the multinational companies are doing this irrelevant documents, framing this irrelevant information. That is the only reason we are doing it. So G20 as launched in the year 2002, the finance minister of G20 has launched this, and it was action plan delivered to G20 in the year 2013. In the year 2014, developing countries, they focused on this tax avoidance. So slowly they were started adopting it, but not fully. Slowly they have started. In the year 2015, G20 finance minister discussed and they framed a report. So we know that whatever new initiative we are doing, it might take years and months to rectify it and sort out it. So slowly they have started implementing. And 2016, the final report of the OECD laid down the project, and they have started 15 points. They have started implementing this 15 points. Next slide, ma'am, please. And after implementing, next month, after implementing only, they came to know that why it matters, why we are in need of this concept. The company should have the transparency. They're mainly concentrating that only. We know that that is not possible. Transparency, giving all the information transparently is not possible. But at least 20% or 30%, we can have the transparency to avoid this crisis. So we decided the BEPS planned to have multinationals without transparency. Many transactions have been done. So they are fighting for the transparency. That is the only motive. Next slide, ma'am, please. Next, this OCED, that is, they have planned 5 strategies, how to sort out categories. They have categorized into 5. So action plan done by BEPS. First is industry specification. First, we have to know what is the industry specification. It is there. After knowing the specification only, we can list out how challenges are there in digital economy. And next is your execution. It is not that only industry specification alone we should know that. Next, we have to think about the challenges. So executing the challenges, it is tough to implement it drastically, but slowly we can move forward. And third concept is transparency and certainty. So transparent information is there and certainty also will be there. So once if you're making use to have this transfer pricing documentation, making dispute resolutions more effectively.
We are unable to hear you, ma'am.
Yes, next slide. This is comes under your coherence. Coherence means consistent performance is needed. So we have to think about it. And next slide, ma'am, please. Yes, next. So we were thinking about BEPS that they have framed 14 points, action plans they have planned. So addressing tax challenges, first plan is you have to accept the challenges what we are facing it on the digital economy. So if you're not able to know the challenges, we are not able to move forward it. Second is neutralizing the effects, how mismatch arrangements are done. So we have to know the mismatches which is relevant and which is not relevant. Action plan 3 is controlled foreign companies. So we are having tie-up with foreign companies. So we have to think about it, how far they are implementing the strategy. Action 4 is about interest deduction and other financing payment, where we can deduct the amount and how far we can make the payments in a proper channel. Fifth plan is about harmful tax pay. More effectively, harmful tax practices are being done by different countries. So we have to know how to rectify it. Sixth is preventing the granting. So we countries are just like that, they are granting. So if we stick on that and we started using that, means definitely it will happen. And seventh is preventing the artificial avoidance, permanent establishment status. Initially, we might be trying for step by step. And seventh plan is totally we have to streamline it. And eighth is about transfer pricing outcome and value creation. Once you have given the outcome, if that some changes are there, definitely you can do it. And 11th one is about measuring and monitoring BEPS. We started implementing and we have to monitor how far this BEPS is followed. And mandatory rules should be framed. Tax pricing documentation is needed. Whatever physical or evident is there is documentation. Documentation is the only concept which gives for country to country report. And making dispute resolution. Last one is developing a multilateral instrument to modify the bilateral taxes treaties. Next slide, ma'am, please. See, why this action is done means slowly they want to make everyone to implement this action. If we countries started implementing this action, means definitely we can move forward and implement this BEPS action. Ma'am, next slide, please. So different countries, we have seen that implementing, different companies which have seen as implementing is status. Australia has implemented this BEPS and Brazil has started implementing, China has started implementing, Singapore has started implementing, and United Kingdom. So this particular countries have started implementing this BEPS slowly. And what the drawback in this BEPS is we can't get the current data. It is lagging there. So in the year of 2023, what are the latest updates? Mainly, still we are lagging in getting the information from the persons. So at last, what we thought is we want to have some conclusion by implementing this particular concept is we have to have government must take initiative in implementing to avoid this erosion. So once if you're thinking of your profit shifting, means we have to have a strong base in base erosion, which should be implemented by the government. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you all. So this is my last members of the OECD, which is started recently in June 2023. They have given this option. These are the members, they are utilizing this OECD. And last is the conclusion is business operates internationally. So government must act together to tackle this, restore and resort trust in domestic and international tax system. So it is mandatory only in the hands of government. Over 135 countries are started implementing. Only 15 actions they have framed it to tackle this tax avoidance. We have to improve this international rules and regulations, ensure that transparent information should be there. At the end, what is the conclusion means by implementing this BEPS, we came to know that we have to have this transparency in your information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the detailed presentation, but in a very crisp manner for all of us to understand the BEPS and its impact on different countries and how we should move forward. Like you have already mentioned, transparency is the key. We have with us our next speaker who is going to speak on Transparency, Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes. And that is again led by OECD, and it fosters international cooperation to combat tax evasion. So this collective effort shall enhance global tax compliance and curb illicit financial activities and support fair revenue distribution. So to speak about this, we have with us Mr. Balaji Krishnan, who is the managing partner of Rangamani Associates Chartered Accountant, which is headquartered in Kottayam with branches in 7 different locations across Kerala. He is a chartered accountant with over 2 decades of valuable experience, and his work in his professional journey, he has worked across UAE, Qatar, and Switzerland. He's also the member of the Chartered Accountants Body of Australia. He's also the current chairman of the Kottayam Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And most of all the important part of the introduction, he's my better half, and I proudly welcome him. Apart from sharing our life, we are also sharing the digital space. Balaji, the digital space is all yours.
Thank you, Sandhya, for the lovely introduction. And good evening to all the stalwarts who are present. Dr. Jose, Suchitra Madam, Divya is there, Inga, then Srividhya Madam, then people to follow like Gustavo, all of it. Thank you very much. And we need to understand a few things. It is said that there are 2 things that are very certain in life. One is death, and equally certain is the tax part of it. So the taxes are the ones which make people grow in a sustainable, in a socially equitable manner. More development should mean that more taxes are collected, and the inequalities in life is balanced by the device that the government uses through collection of tax from people and then distributing through the developments. SDG plays a key role in terms of how a tax is structured. But given that we have seen how people are getting smart by trying to jump the fence or redefining the loopholes and ensuring that more and more money is withheld than paid to the exchequer in the form of taxes. So the endeavor for the evening is to see what actions are proposed and what are the ways in which the government across have decided to put a plug to these systems. So if I know it's not in fairness of things to make a presentation through using the website, but then it would be plagiarism if I were to just pull out what is there in the OECD website. There is nothing more to say, or the way it has been properly captured there. So I would please allow me to share the screen.
Inga, can I request you to check? Yeah.
Yeah, can you see this now? Is the screen visible?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So there we are. So we're talking about, we saw so many things, BEPS actions. Now we are in this part, tax transparency. So if you look at it, it's all about beautifully put. The In fact, the guy who made this statement should be paid for the best punchline. Like Adidas says, impossible is nothing. So it talks about the same line. The tax transparency is about putting an end to bank secrecy and tax evasion through global tax cooperation. The moment you find that one multinational is operating two different countries, and if the government is silent or not very clear as to where the money should be taxed, naturally the tendency like water should be to flow to the lower end, thereby causing much harm. If I operate in India, I make most of my profits, and it's very natural that I pay the taxes in India and shift the profit to the other side. So the BEPS action relating to BEPS action will be effective only if this global cooperation is properly understood. So there is a small video there. So this is the key part. There are two parts of it: exchange of information on request and then automatic exchange. So we'll just see a short video on this.
I think you need to share sound if it is required.
No, I'll just stop. I have shared the sound. Was it not audible? Was it audible?
No, it's not audible.
Oh, okay. So this is the key part of it. I mean, the sound part is just a background. See, this is the key part. OECD has helped dismantle the tax havens where rich and powerful have hidden their wealth and got around paying taxes. So this was by and large achieved because there was a proper transparency between the countries through which trade takes place to ensure that tax is not allowed to be hidden in the form of some secret bank accounts. So we just this is the key part. Why do the government should have proper tax? Otherwise, what will happen is over a period of time, government will lose revenue because it's without understanding abets tax evasion, which should never be permitted. We can plan for the taxes to be paid at a lower level, but then we cannot permit tax evasion by preying onto the susceptibilities of the lack of proper structure, which could be there in a government. It's not a fair practice. So what we're talking about is fair practice, and at times fair practices need to be ensured. It is like wearing a uniform to the school. Everyone knows that children go to the school, but then by wearing a uniform, you are ensuring that it's made very clear that the intention of the student is to go to the school. So also for the schools to understand that they have only the pupil who are studying in the school who come to the school. This is the key part. What otherwise they would lose if they don't have that money, then they will not be able to spend on public safety, infrastructure, healthcare, which is very, very important. This is one of the most important SDG goals and by far the best. Education, if you are not having enough money because you sit silently and allow the corporates to take the money stashed in some other countries, then you will never be able to provide education to your own pupils. So just to show that the perspective on which this tax transparency thing was mooted. See, this is the key development. So you can see that this is the first time this was established in 1971. See, it's not something new. We have seen that over the years. For example, in India, the tax rate was as high as 90%. So maybe there were some attempts to take this away. So you can see that this has been going on for the last 52 years. And let's see how successful they are. Now, you can see that there are over 160 members. So one of the key reasons why we are talking now is United Arab Emirates have embraced corporate tax. That's basically because of the commitment they had on OECD, and also part of they are already part of this from 2000. We will see the countries which are part of this. So you can see that this global forum on transparency and exchange of information for tax purpose is basically built around the world. And I would say that this is more cohesive. There are less political reasons to be involved here. The way this team works, there is a concept called tax inspectors without jurisdiction, and that's welcomed by everyone across the globe. You need to see that each country deserves its lion's share in the economic progress made by multinational in that country. So you can see that there have been conventions on mutual administrative assistance in tax matters. It has to be similar. You're talking about a global practice where the basic structure of tax remains the same. And we have those 15% minimum tax prescribed as corporate tax, which is also going to be discussed in the future part of this. So this is the key part. We can see that there is an automatic exchange of tax information. So you can see that covers more than 100 tax jurisdictions with information on 84 million financial accounts with a total euro of 10 trillion. That's a huge amount of money, and then information that is getting exchanged. So this is as of 2019. So you can see that we have progressed another 4 years, but then we will see how interesting it is. There is a peer review done. That peer review, this also was discussed by Suchitra madam. There is this country by country exchange. We need to understand how a corporate functions in terms of how they've made profits in each of the countries. If they're booking less profit in higher tax jurisdiction and lower profit in lower tax jurisdiction, then through this exchange of information, that multinational gets caught. So there are other parameters as well, like residence by citizenship, by investment. For example, a country like Singapore welcomes people to become their citizen by investing, but then that should not be used as a cue for somebody to evade tax in another country. We want everyone to come and settle as good, normal, law-abiding citizens. There are indicators which give a clear view. What are the parameters on which each of the country is supposed to work? So you can see that this automatic information, there are common reporting standards, framework under which this common reporting standards work, then common reporting standards, implementation and assistance. That requires a little bit of digging. So you can see that this is how the whole thing works. If someone is familiar with multi-jurisdictional taxation advice given, then everyone is looking for tax identification numbers. Because if I were to certify for the financial transaction of a US resident, I would definitely want to get the tax residency certificate from that person and also get a STIN. So these key ingredients, these are all implemented based on the BEPS action plan and especially the exchange of information put in place by OECD. So if this is all, then this is not all. They are also having a monitoring progress. So they need to, if this is the law as a basic principle keeps evolving, and whenever the law evolves, the OECD team in the automatic exchange portal, they keep updating what are the key ingredients which needs to be updated. Now we are looking in the digital world, which is very, very complicated. How do I find out which country should collect tax for a sale of software, whether it is in the country in which it was created or in the country it was used, or in both the places? If it's in both the places, how all of this should be distributed? So for this information and a proper law to be involved, exchange of information on an automatic basis is considered very, very vital by OECD. So you can see that this Oslo Convention, this was the first time they talked about tax and crime. So it was, and interestingly, there is a movie called Untouchables where the dreaded Al Capone, who was a gangster of the 1930s, he was nabbed and put behind bars because he did not file his tax return in time. There was no other reason for that to be brought behind bars or brought to the good side of the law. So I'm saying that in the Oslo dialogue, they tackle tax crimes and also define what are the financial crimes. So see, this part really captures the essence of the whole thing. Countering these activities requires greater transparency, more effective intelligence gathering and analysis, and improvements in cooperation and information sharing between government agencies and between countries to prevent, I repeat, it is basically to prevent, and if somebody jumps the bar, then detect, and then what happens to and prosecute criminals and recover proceeds of their illicit activities. See, this is how strongly they have made the whole exercise. If somebody wants to jump or violate the law, they better be very careful, because if they run from one country and then land in another country where there is a treaty, then there is not going to be much difficulty in extraditing that person. So all of this you will find here. So there is also this featured content. There is a peer review process, as I said. They review the activities done. There is also standard exchange. Then this is what is something more relevant for a country like India, and also to see where we stand in the whole spectrum. This, you will see that this is a very comprehensive working that has been shared here. We will very quickly go through a couple of things before we switch to the other part. I hope it's getting okay. There it is. In 2014, they sat around and understood that other than developing countries that do not host a financial center were invited to commit. See, they were invited to commit to come and say that we will also want to exchange information. We will also collect information, because without which the point and trying to make it unless the countries realize that if I as a country welcome people to come and settle here and pay lower taxes, that is only a smaller phase. If I do the wrong thing, then another person will lower the tax and the whole thing will get eroded from my base. That should not happen. Everywhere, tax is basically required for ensuring that the sustainable development goal, the larger 4A plan of the United Nations, is a success. If it has to be a success, then taxes are very much required. You can see that in this plenary session in 2016, encouraged all countries to take steps towards implementing this standard as soon as practical. That was the urging which was done from their end. It has to be done as soon as practical. Then you can see that almost everyone welcomed this move and then ensured that information exchange became a very, very regular activity, so that nobody escapes the law just because he thinks that another country has a different law. If I have failed to pay tax and I escape, we can say, for example, Boris Becker. And so hard to talk about Boris as an example. Boris Becker was jailed. He had to be jailed and the entire assets were confiscated. He virtually became bankrupt because his tax affairs were not properly done. He fled from one country and then stayed in another country. All of that happened only because this automatic exchange of information is available for the authorities. So he also now repents the fact that he should have rather paid the tax and then gave a good example of himself rather than face the ignominy of being put behind bars on these matters. So these are the couple of other things that you can say. Let us see, this is the latest one. Latin American countries, they have created a new process. Let's see what is and they have understood that there are still margins for improvements. This is as early as 26th of June. So you can see that they have understood that average, this is the key part. There has to be a basic average of tax to GDP. Unless that is maintained, no country can make progress nearly than in name's sake. See, you can see that their average tax GDP ratios, it remains low in international comparison, 20.7, whereas the OECD average is 34. So this parity to be achieved can be achieved only by ensuring that the information flow happens on a regular basis. And that is why there is a compelling reason for more countries to step into this process and also increase the items to be exchanged. For example, in India, the government has done a fantastic job by virtually capturing all the key financial transactions done by a person by linking everything to their PAN. Not only that, this is also shared. The moment it is a non-resident, this information is put in this automatic exchange portal so that the country where he operates will also come to know that there is an asset base for this person in India. Another reason is in developed countries, they give a lot of support for the senior citizens and also people who have paid tax. They gave great respect for people who have paid tax at one point of time. And as the age progresses, they want to support those elderly people. But then assuming those elderly people, some billionaires having huge deposits in India, that exchange of information back to a place like Canada or USA will ensure that the individual contribution given to that particular individual will come down because he already has a wealth to fall back upon. He doesn't require the entire government support. So there is a social perspective, there is an economic perspective. Moreover, there is an overall global perspective involved in ensuring that the global tax information is done diligently, not for the namesake, for the reason that if there is an erosion, that will ensure that the poor people who are supposed to get the benefit in terms of access to better hygiene, health, then infrastructure, education, all of this will get wiped away. So this is the premise on which we had to come together and then discuss about it. So this is a very vast topic per se, even though it looks very small. So I am just cutting short my presentation here. In case there is any discussion on that, we'll take the questions now or in the end. I once again repeatedly take this moment to say how nice Srividhya madam was in terms of allowing a small towner like us to, especially now it's become a family business. So it's me and Sandhya were very regular. We are so elated. And one more thing, I also keep telling people that in India, which is considered as a developing country, the town that I belong to, Kottayam, we achieved 100% literacy way back in the 80s. Now, we are also one of the few districts in the entire country which has zero poverty. So in fact, all the SDG 20 goals, SDG 20, everything has been properly captured in our district, where we ensure that there is zero poverty in our district. So I'm very, very happy to sign off on that note and say that we respect the United Nations agenda and we are as diligent as a citizen that you can find in any other part of the globe. That's the reason that we have very high public health standards and also access to education, which has allowed us to become a zero poverty district. Thank you very much, Srividhya madam, Dr. Jose, Inga, every one of you for the patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Balaji. I know I missed some of your session because I presented for somebody and then I had to really go out and then come back, log in. And thanks for any Dr. Inga and Madam Sandhya to take it forward. Thank you so much. And as Dr. Mr. Balaji was mentioning, when we talk about taxation systems, is it territorial or worldwide? Both ways, if you just look into it, if it is territorial worldwide taxation system or visualized as opposite sides of the spectrum, hope you will agree with me. And the overwhelming majority of the countries will fall somewhere in between these two, whichever country it is. Nevertheless, for the classification purposes, the countries—
We have a young champion. We should pay thumping hand, somebody who's sitting in the lap of Dr. Jose. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Nevertheless, the classification purpose, the countries with predominantly territorial taxation elements, for example, some type of foreign dividends exemption system, he did mention it, or categorized as territorial, and countries with significant worldwide taxation elements, as you have been analyzing it and giving it as a very broader pictorial thing. When Dr. Jose was mentioning, he was talking about relating it to the Brazil. And when you relate it to the worldwide thing, like that's what I talked about, worldwide taxation system within the mind. And when the OECD member states have the territorial system, the pace of shift from the worldwide to the territorial system model has been significantly accelerating over the 30 years. That's what we should keep. I think we should always keep a record, and we should move on further on that note. So moving ahead, without taking much time, it's our duty to invite the Mr. Gustavo Baisali. I think I've just got his name right. He was the first one to join us in today's Zoom session. Thank you for your patience, sir. We really, really appreciate it. And it's a pleasure. I'm sure it's going to be a real pleasure having you with us amidst us today. Over to Madam Speaker to welcome the speaker. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So would you give me a moment to give a short introduction and welcome you?
Sure.
Yeah. So as Balaji spoke about no more evading taxes as world citizen, with the digital era, we don't know when a business is set up, where to review the profit, where to allocate the profit, where can we call ourselves as a business, how to tax digital services, and what kind of establishment should an organization call itself. And there are many more challenges adding to the digital era. So to address these tax challenges, we have with us Professor Gustavo Alves, who is a professor from State University of West Parana. May we welcome you once again to the evening, sir, and would like to have more information about yourself and your inputs on the challenges.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I am so glad to be here with you speaking today. I am a political scientist. I have my PhD in from the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul. But what I must say is I am a teacher and I am passionate for teaching and to discussing ideas. Well, my point here today is that OECD is doing a great job, and some other international institutions must clue on that job, I think. But what we are seeing until now is that is the real or the legal economy, okay? And I believe that we must take a look on the unseen, on what we are not seeing, and to discuss the possibilities of international intelligence, of artificial intelligence, or any kind of instruments to face it, okay? I have prepared some PowerPoint on researching I am developing on counterfeit pesticides or illegal pesticides, just to clear something and to show some data that stresses the lines of what I am saying. We must take a look on illegal and on the unseen when we are talking about development and when we are talking about environment. Okay, just to show some data. What are we talking about when we are talking about illegal pesticides? Well, about 30% of the total trade in the world. That is an average, because when we talk about United States, Europe, and the North, and some parts of the North Hemisphere, we're talking about 20%. When we talk about Latin America, 30%. Africa and the rest of the world, 50% of the total trade on pesticides came from illegal markets. Just to show you some numbers for Brazil, 3 years ago, we have about $3.4 billion lose in 1 year. And we are just talking about of what we are seeing of these unseen markets. What's the impact of that? And which tools should we improve to look at the unseen? Well, when we show health problems, skin cancer, breast cancer, premature birth, lung cancer, and others. So we must look to spread the networks of what we are saying and take a closer data transfer and a closer data dialogue with health systems and with others, with other institutions, to have the problem more clear, to face it as it really is. OECD is doing an important job in that sense, since it is developing a good guidance practice and a guidance practice to establish the chain, to look at the chain of the legal completely. So it's doing about OECD is talking about labeling, about searching for the chain production, the chain the transportation, and the market until the farmer. Okay. Well, that sounds nice, but what should we do when we are talking non-members of OECD? For example, Brazil is a non-member of OECD. It's trying to become a member, but not an effective member yet. In Mercosur, we have no discussion about that. I believe that in Africa, I would like to hear some colleagues from Africa, but I believe we do not have any discussion about that also. So I believe that we are facing, we are making great progress, but we are facing a problem with an institution that's multipolarized and with points or government points spread all over the world. That's something we should care about and we should think about. Let me show you some points about the research I have been doing about it. Okay. Well, I have developed this research with Dr. Irene Carniato de Oliveira and Dr. Manuela Jaqueira here in Brazil. Well, another point I would like to stress is that the chain production and chain circulation of pesticides has almost the same structure of some drugs, most of them heroin, and medicines. So what's the point? Produced in China and India, dealt with Middle Eastern countries or passing by Middle Eastern countries, coming to Ukraine if they were spread in Europe, and coming from Chile if they were spread in South America. Okay? So what happens is that gangs often change from one illegal market to the other. For example, we are having now here in Brazil drug dealers that—
Can you make like a slideshow? Sorry, the screen is quite— you have to make it like a slideshow. If you just click on slideshow and click on current slide, you should be able to present it in a bigger way. Yeah.
Is that okay now?
Yes, yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that drug gangs are now changing from markets. They become cigarette dealers and they are becoming pesticide dealers because drug dealers are enforced by the law. In almost all countries, drug dealers are somehow enforced by the law. Cigarette dealers, not really, okay? We have a huge problem here in Brazil with smuggled cigarettes, because a huge problem for health systems because lung cancer. And we do not know yet, but we are trying to make some approaches to see what are the problem dealt with pesticides, because drug gangs often change from one illegal thing to the other. And as drug dealers are enforced by the law, some of them are becoming pesticide dealers because police officers and tax officers often do not take a close care about it. Another point concerning tax officers is that they are not often trained to recognize illegal pesticides. What they see when they look to the packing is some white powder. Okay, they do not know what to do with that. They don't know what is inside, and what is inside could be something really dangerous. I have a report from one technician here in Brazil that they found almost 30 products in just a small pack like this. So you can imagine it, the impact on a health system and on environment. That is another thing that's not measured yet. We do not know how much the impact of the environment costs. We just know, and we just can take a closer look to what the state is losing. And I said, here in Brazil, in 1 year, $3.4 billion. But we do not know how much is it spending on cancer treatment and other health treatments, or in water treatment, soil, whatever. Well, another point is that illegal pesticides is takes a wide range of things, because we have smuggled pesticides, we have fake pesticides, bad labeled pesticides, and I don't know how to say it in English, but kind of homemade pesticides. Okay. In Brazil, we have some arrests in the state of São Paulo about homemade pesticides, just close to the better chemistry faculties in the country, as a way to take profit of the labor force, of specialized labor force, to produce illegal products. Okay. Well, OECD is facing this, as I said, producing a best practices guide and making all its members to adopt some some standards. But how can we spread it for other organisms and for other countries? I believe this is the challenge we must have now. I have made some notes here. I have. So, to set up some points and to stress some actions, maybe, what must we do? The amount must be known. The amount of illegal pesticides and of illegal things must be known. Exchanging information, yes, exchanging information. But most of all, creating a bond between tax and border agents. And that is a challenge because we are talking about institutions and people that almost do not know each other and perhaps do not trust each other. Okay. So when we talk about compliance, my dear Dr. Steves, I believe we must open the concept, talking about compliance, not only with entrepreneurs and with industries or companies, but we must talk about compliance and with governments. That's a key and hard point, because now we are facing lots of political agents and lots of political systems that almost do not work closely or do not almost work together. On the contrary, they are prepared, they are designed to establish borders, to put walls in borders and try to put the enemy outside the borders. And we must turn upside down all this conception. We are facing a big challenge. We're facing a really big challenge. But I am a little bit skeptical and a little bit optimist with it. Skeptical because I do not believe that governments will change if we don't do anything. Governments will not change. Governments will try always to act as they always acted. But we are talking about youth. We are talking about climate change. We're talking about taxes. We are talking about change. So we must express our voice to governments and to all the leaders and say, hey, we must act on a different way. We have the tools for that, or we have some tools for that. International artificial intelligence is one of them. Blockchain technologies are here to help us. Data exchange are powerful, and some things are beginning to happen. Well, I came glad, really glad a few days ago when a former government person was arrested with some jewelry on the bag, on the luggage. And what surprises me was the way he was arrested. When he has spot his luggage to be carried out by an air company in the Middle Eastern, they almost instantly informed the customs in Brazil, hey, this person is carrying out 25 kilos of luggage. And the customs said, oh, how much? 25 kilos of luggage. He left the country with 10 kilos of luggage. So what's on his luggage right now that it's more than the double than the original? And they took a look and they said, well, you're carrying some jewelry. You're carrying gold, you're carrying diamonds, and not a small, not an earring, not a watch or something, but 13 kilos. So just give us an explanation of what are you doing with this 13 kilos of drugs. That makes me a little bit more joyful and a little bit with a little bit more hope in the technologies and in the exchange of knowledge and in the initiatives like that International Internship University is doing to create bonds between people and institution. That is to make globalization really works and works for everyone. Okay. Thank you so much. Here I have my 2 research groups where I'm in. The first is the International Network on Resilience Climate Repair, and the second one is the lab on research, borders, state, and social relationships. Okay. Well, here you have my phone number, my email, and thank you so much one more time.
Thank you, Mr. Gustavo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to be very frank, we have learned quite a lot of things from you today, where you have related to the present scenario of the taxation with the threats. You know, till now we were talking only about the strengths of taxation, financial architecture, tax architecture with the terms of imports, exports, territorial, world economy, so many things. But the actual threats to be dealt with. Thanks for highlighting on those threats which are involved in it. And definitely, I think it will throw some light on certain parts that you mentioned, certain inferences that we are going to take from your presentation as such. And when it comes to the taxation, definitely the tax on the environment, we know that a progressive transition from zero greenhouse gas emissions by around the middle of the century is essential to the containing of the risk of the dangerous climatic change that you have mentioned. Limiting the global warming to 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade will require a climatic policy packages that drive the transformative changes in production and the consumption patterns. Well, I think we definitely think, yes, Professor.
I could share my slides on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So with some policies which come up, and we can apply an explicit price to the carbon emissions, and the effect of treating and creating an implicit price with the policies, revised policies mixing with depending on the country's specific economic circumstances under the guidance of OECD. Talking on that note, the next topic is more related to it. We have related to the green finance. Green finance, as you know, is a sign of the world's economy, accelerating the transition away from the fossil fuel area. At its simplest, the green finance means any structured financial activity that has been created to ensure a better environmental outcome and more a resilient future. To throw more light on it, we would request Madam Sandhya Balaji to invite Ms. Divya Somani. Thank you so much. Over to Madam Sandhya. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vidya. As you suggested, to drive to a sustainable and to give a sustainable solution for all the environmental challenges, green finance is the key word, and it plays a crucial role. So we all know what green finance is now. In case, for those who do not know, it means to address and target resources, financial resources towards projects and initiatives and businesses that have a positive environmental impact. And our target through green finance is to have a low carbon economy, along with addressing pressing issues such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and resource depletion. So today, to speak on green finance, we have with us Chartered Accountant Ms. Srividhya Sukumar from Ajmer, India. And she's an insolvency expert, and she's a company secretary as well. She's a diploma in information systems audit, and to her credit, she has an IFRS from AACID UK. She's also a certified concurrent auditor and a certified peer reviewer. And she's no new face to our G20. We welcome you once again, Ms. Divya, and we look forward to your inputs on green finance.
Thank you so much, Sandhya ma'am, for such a warm welcome, and thank you, Srividhya ma'am, for giving me the opportunity again to deliver something on the very crucial topic, which is green finance. See, today's session was very well carved out, I would say. All the topics were very much relevant, and just now we have heard about the actual threats which our environment is facing, and sitting in a close compact office or working area does not let us know what are the real situation which we are facing nowadays. So our next generations need to have a sustainable future, and for that G20 is all about, and every country must adhere to the policies of G20 related to that. So as you have already heard about the tax, the environment related to carbon pricing, BEPS, and various challenges related to tax and everything. Now it's my turn to take you to the new topic, which is green finance. See, the ultimate thing which is required to convert your dreams into realities, basically you must have some financial capacity to do so. Everything is possible if you have the capacity to do so, and in terms of making things possible, finance plays a very, very important role. So if you want to sustain the future, you need to have some renewable sources put into use. So how to use them, how to make them available to future generations is to be done by some researchers or anything like that. But for that, we all need some or the other finance. So what is this green finance relates to? Let me take you through the presentation and we will understand it. Just let me know whether my screen is visible.
Not yet. It is visible.
It is visible now. Okay, thank you.
Can you put a full screen, please?
Yeah. I'll just do this.
Okay.
Yes. Just a sec. Okay, so what is green finance? That is the topic about. And firstly, we should understand what is the this picture telling us. It says that when you put some money in the environment, it grows in multiple times, basically. So environment is always there with us from the very beginning. It was just that we did not care about it in recent past and last decades or so. But again, it's time for us to showcase our respect and our love and affection for that environment, because it is the ultimate savior of the human generation. So let us understand what is green finance all about. Green finance refers to the financial products and services and initiatives that are specifically designed to support the environmentally sustainable projects and activities. So whatever activity you are doing, and for that, if you need funds, those activities should relate to some renewable energy or the projects which leads to less carbon emitting projects, something like that, which leads to less pollution or in fact no pollution at all. If all those projects you want to do and you want some finance related to it, that is simply known as green finance. It encompasses a range of financial instruments, investments, and lending practices that aim to promote positive environmental outcomes while simultaneously delivering financial returns. See, mostly in all countries, the policies of government or the banks is that they provide funds to the for the basic necessities. Like if you want to purchase a car, if you want to purchase a house for yourself, you will get funds easily. And if you want to start up an industry, or you want to have some loan for the business purpose, again, there are various policies as per the priorities decided by the government. So again, this is going to be a very much priority sector in the coming future, that if you want to invest something in a project which will lead to less carbon generating company products, or the things in a fashion that it relates to your sustainable environment, then banks and other financial institutions would be helping out in providing funds for those specific purposes. The basic objective, as we can see, is to give finance to all those industries who would be contributing to a low carbon, resource efficient, and environmentally responsible economy. Let us now understand the difference between the green and traditional finance. As we all know, this green finance is totally about looking to the environment aspect in first go. So it supports, the purpose of this green finance is basically to support environmentally sustainable projects and initiatives that have positive environmental and social impacts. So while giving the finance, the financial institution or the other bodies would be firstly considering whether the project really focuses on the environmental and social goals. On the contrast, the traditional finance, as we all know, it basically sees whether the project is feasible in terms of finances only. So it checks the profitability. While in green finance, we are not very much concerned about the profit aspect, but we are very much concerned about the environmental issues which we must focus nowadays. Secondly, these are long-term sustainable projects. These green finance are obviously long-term sustainable projects. On the other hand, these traditional finance could not be very much relating to that long-term aspects. Then again, what is there about the transparency and reporting? Regarding green finance, it requires a detailed information about the environmental and social impacts of investments. Disclosure of ESG performance in common is very common here. So basically, it is related to environment, social governance performance. ESG stands for that. So nowadays, in many countries, we can find these social audits going on, or the environmental audits going on, which actually judges whether you are capable enough to sustain the environment, or your your industry or whatever you are manufacturing is causing less harm to the environment as such. And that is being reported day in and day out. Again, the regulatory environment with respect to green finance is that government nowadays promote and incentivize by providing some tax benefits, subsidies, and regulatory support to these green finance sector industries. Then again, in the traditional finance, focus is basically on the financial stability and the consumer protection, basically. So what aspect is missing in the traditional finance is the environmental and the social impact altogether. So nowadays, mostly the countries are looking for the projects which are more eco-friendly, and thereby they are giving some tax benefits or subsidies to them. So what are the benefits of green banking altogether? We must have understood it by now that we can help our environment, or we can help our the coming generations to have a better future, a sustainable future. Then green deposits drive investments in eco-friendly and sustainable projects. So if you are depositing, or if you are investing something in this green environment, basically, then you will be providing very much to the sustainable future altogether. It promotes a healthier, greener future. And again, if banks are taking up these kind of projects, then it helps paperless banking, and it helps in preserving the trees as well. As nowadays we see that digitalization has reduced the use of paper as it was used earlier. So the change in technology is bringing somewhat addition to the environment, and it is creating a better environment, no doubt. Bottlenecks and how to mitigate. So we all understand that these kind of policies are very much in relation to the future generation, and they are actually going to help the sustainable future. But what are the bottlenecks, and why the banks or the other investors, they are not putting their efforts into it, why they are not looking forward to it? So, and how to mitigate all those, we will now see that. So first is there is very limited access to data and information. So if I want to start up some project with relation to some renewable energy or some solar project, if I want to start, the data is very limited. The information is not easily accessible. And what can be a solution to that? Government, industry association, and financial institutions can work to improve data transparency and reporting, ensuring that relevant environmental information is readily available to the investors. So this is very much need of the hour. Again, the next problem which we face here is the risk perception and uncertainty, because this is a long-term project and a huge investment is involved in these kind of projects, and always there is a risk whether people would like this kind of thing or not. Suppose if I compare the normal two-wheeler with a e-vehicle nowadays, so it is no doubt much costlier. The looks are also not that good, maybe. And there is always a comparison between the existing technology and this new version. So again, there's a lot of risk associated with that. Again, there is a problem of limited expertise and capacity, because this is altogether a new scenario, new area to experience. So the people are not very much expert here. So again and again, research and developments have to take place so that people become more knowledgeable and they can enhance their capacity. Of course, there are cost barriers, and therefore we are again and again saying that green finance institutions should be established and more focus should be there on these green projects. And government should take steps for that. Social and political challenges are again a matter in that. Then again, long payback period is there, because the project itself takes a long time. So the payback period also gets elaborated in such cases. So let us understand the green finance products which are available. So one of them is green bonds. What are these green bonds? Green bonds and debt securities are issued by the government, corporations, or other entities to raise funds for environmentally friendly projects. Just like you understand the normal bonds, it is solely for the purpose of environment friendly projects. So if these kind of bonds are issued by government or some other agency, these are known as green bonds. And the proceeds here are to be used specifically for these projects only, which relates to the environment, like renewable energy installations, energy efficiency improvements, etc. Another another product could be sustainability linked loans. These loans are where the interest rates or terms are linked to the borrower's achievement of predetermined sustainability targets, such as reducing carbon emissions or increasing energy efficiency. So if you have set a target for them that you will be able to reduce such carbon emission by so and so percentage, your interest rates or the terms of repayment would be linked to that. So this is basically known as sustainability linked loans. Again, there is one more product called green microfinance. So basically, a microfinance institution offers small loans to individuals or communities for sustainable projects such as clean water and sanitation initiatives, solar energy access, and sustainable agriculture. So even if micro sector wants to do something for the environment, they should not feel that they are not getting enough funds to do so. So these institutions are established for them as well in some parts of the world. So again, there's one more concept called green loans. This is similar to what we have just understood. They provide loans basically to those projects which are eco-friendly. Then crowdfunding is also available for the green projects. This is an online platform where individuals are allowed to contribute funds for some specific green projects. Then renewable energy funds. These are also available. Then carbon offsetting services. This we must understand. Carbon offsetting services. Individuals or companies can purchase carbon offsets to compensate for their carbon emissions. So this is a kind of credit points or credit service which is given by the government. So if you are emitting less carbon, you will be considered more important or as compared to the others who are emitting higher carbon from their industries. So to offset or to have a balance in the whole society as such, the companies or the industries which are emitting less carbon are given credit points which they can give to the companies or the industries which are generating more carbons, and they can offset these two, and they can very well earn money also while doing so. Carbon markets and trading. Carbon markets involve the trading of carbon credits or allowances, allowing companies to buy and sell emission allowances. Then again, there is a scope of green insurance and risk management. This is a totally different thing to see upon. This is altogether a new area to capture, green insurance. So what are the recent trends? Are there any industries which are into this particular green projects and all? Yes, there are many. And industry-wise, I have taken some examples also. Like in case of financial institutions, Bank of America has committed to $3 billion sustainable finance goal. So they have committed that whosoever comes to them, they will be giving funds up to this much amount they have kept separately for this particular purpose. Again, BNP Paribas has also committed for a similar kind of financing. Then in automotive industry, Toyota is known for its hybrid and fuel cell vehicles. Nissan is again developing electrical vehicles. Then FMCG industry is also there, which aims, like Nestle has aimed to achieve zero net greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Similarly, the industries with relation to fashion and apparel are also into it. Then real estate and construction industries are also taking much more pride in saying that we are going to have projects with which relate to the sustainable construction projects. In agriculture and food industry, every time we see that new innovations are happening and different projects are coming up to sustain the agricultural methods. Then in transportation, healthcare industry, everywhere we can see this. Again, we are here to understand and see some success stories also, like green bond issuance by Apple in 2016 itself. They had done this, and they had issued this green bond, and they could generate a lot of funds, and they could support initiatives like solar installation and energy efficient buildings, etc., to reduce the carbon footprint. Then Green Climate Fund was also established. Then China had also catered to this green finance initiatives. Then again, we have climate investment funds. Tesla's green innovation and investment strategy is there. We are already aware about it. Then green building initiatives are also there. It is basically related to construction of projects with relation to some more sustainability. And these are the various success stories. Now let us understand it from the perspective of G20, how to pursue this thing. So as G20 countries have made a pact that they would be contributing to this green finance by these for adopting these measures, like policy and regulatory frameworks would be designed in such a fashion that they cater to the green finance goal. Then green finance infrastructure would be developed, capacity building and training would be given. Integration of ESG factors would be seen and implemented simultaneously. Innovation and research part would be done by all to increase the market transparency, liquidity, etc., etc. How can countries cooperate with each other for adopting green finance? So let us understand it from the country's perspective, how they can do it, or at their pace. So sharing the best practices and experience, because each country might not be capable enough to do research work, and why to do it again and again? Why not to share your best practice with others and experience with others? So that is one thing which countries can develop. Second is capacity building and technical assistance. If any country wants some kind of technical assistance, the others should be ready to give that. And that is the basic idea, how you can develop these kind of scenario. Harmonizing standards and taxonomies, as we have all understood that there has to be a similar tax structure in all the countries and similar green finance policies also in different countries. So standardization is again a must thing for everyone. Then these are again the various things which we can see. Trade agreements and incentives can also be planned by various countries with respect to that. Then what are the roles of regulators, industries, and public at large? So for green financing, basically government needs to frame a regulatory setup altogether, and an institutional body is to be there which can regularly monitor and check with respect to the green finance. Then tariff can be designed if a particular company or industry is not adhering to those norms, then taxes could be imposed on that. Then again, subsidies and guarantees should be given by the country to encourage more and more participants into that. Businessmen, how can they help? They can, if they have funds, they should involve into these kind of practices. They can have some technical innovation at their end. And the managerial people, they have to actually understand that is the need of the hour to involve some percentage of their overall capital structure into this green financing. Citizens basically have to understand that they should now be made aware, and they should now be willing to pay for these kind of activities. And it is basically when the citizens are educated that they have to involve into these activities, they will surely act as a very crucial part. They will in fact perform a very crucial role here. So these are the India's climate smart investment potential, which they have given, that in order to build a 3 trillion or 5 trillion economy, this is what they are going to do with respect to the green finance part. Thank you so much. That is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya. It was a great presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Divya. So, yeah, that was a very comprehensive presentation. Yeah, before I sum up, Dr.
Dr. Vidya, you're on mute.
Yes. Dr. Srividhya, we don't hear you.
Dr. Nada, would you like to add something to this? And then I will sum it up.
Well, I want to say that Dr. Divya really makes an amazing presentation on this topic because today, according to everything, what we are doing, green digital, green everything, so green banking, green financing, it is very important. We need to understand that even our currency all needs to be green. How we do that, like example, what I do with my students, we have the virtual trains, so we are making our green money. Today, all this what is going online and everything, I hope that one day that really we will never have that money in our hands, because we need to avoid that today. So that is the way how we will solve so many problems. If we talk about the taxation, what can we do in the green way with the taxation? That is still a big enigma. Dr. Divya last time was in the field of the financing. It was really amazing. She explained us all of this. So her topic today, green finance for sustainable solutions, giving, and what I especially like in this presentation, she explained us what is the difference. I mean, what are the purpose for the green finance and what is from the traditional finance. So we now learn that we need to have we need to have a environment which is positive environment and which will have the social impacts. Before our traditional finance were based on the financial profitability, risk and market trends. So the difference today is we will not maximize these financial returns on the investments through this. That was the purpose. We will support environmentally this sustainable project. Then also for the long-term sustainability, she said that we will promote more projects, more practices, which will contribute to a more resilient and environment future. We are all living for this sustainable future. Even not this part from traditional finance, that in traditional finance, the prioritization was on the social sustainability, long-term environment, ESG, which is incorporated. In the green finance, what about the transparency and reporting? She said that ESG is a performance which is common. So for all the environmental and social impacts of the investments, for all we need to invest. So it is not focused primarily only on the financial performances that have the social impact. Then about the regulatory, which we learned today a lot and here today, the regulatory environment, talking about the government needs to promote the tax benefits. We need more tax benefits. We need this subsidize. We need regulatory support. So that is important. And till traditional finance is talking about there is a focus on the financial stability and the consumer protection. So how to protect consumer and what are the benefits of green banking? I like the way she explained it in the form of the tree. So you can do your bit to ensure your sustainable future. Then green deposits are driving investments in eco-friendly and sustainable projects. We have so many eco-sustainable projects. Then green banking will promote the green future through the awareness, and we will have this populist banking, which will help preserve the trees. I can say that we in Europe are really doing a lot in this green banking, especially we are getting so many grants for this project. So this is for us a big motivation. We always need to find something what is new. So that is the way how we can get the money. So we will here at IIU, we are also doing a lot on this. This green, I mean the green. So I hope that we will start also with this green banking. And then when I ask somebody in which way your country is going in the debt, so we know that we are using the bonds. The bonds needs to be green bonds. So this green bonds will give us a security by the government. That is the way what the government is giving the corporation. On that way, we will raise the funds for the, again, eco environment friendly projects. So let us learn, let us think about these bonds because how will you share that? How will you share that? You need to support long-term financing with the low carbon resilient projects. That is one of the benefits of the green bonds. Then for the investors, the green bonds are carrying on the environment. What it is meaning? It is meaning that we will need to have a benefit without sacrificing other financial returns. We all want a financial return on investment, famously ROI. And for issues, we need new investors who will attract these things. So I think that today was really very great day with a very important topic about these taxes, touching all of these parts. Each one of our great esteemed guests today were amazing. So our dear audience, you are really lucky to have this G20 Summit in the organization of International Internship University and G20 Summit. Dr. Srividhya, this was really amazing. Dr. Sandy, great. Here is our Eurocrat, Dr. Inga is with us. Thank you. And our amazing Jose from Brazil. Professor, we are learning continuously from you. Great, Dr. Divya. Dr. Divya, you are famous, you know. I really appreciate the knowledge today, which is shared, you know, especially because I'm coming from this also field. So I like people who are working on this new innovation, inventions, creations, and opportunities. So, respected Gustavo, thank you so much. Dr. Sandy, will you, before our last words of Dr. Srividhya, will you show our audience what we make till now and what is expected, what we will have at our next Sunday?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't keep my video on.
No problem, Dr. Srividhya.
Yeah, I tried.
We don't see you
it's
now.
having some problem.
Oh yes.
So, yeah, that's why I'm not able to. Previously I shared my screen.
Yes.
And I had to really exit out.
No problem.
Ms. Sandy, do you mind sharing the screen this time, please?
Yeah, let me try doing it this time.
Yeah.
Give me a minute, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ms. Divya, until she's ready. It was a fabulous presentation. And no doubt that you will be a real asset to any organization that you're going to go into, really. Thank you so much. And beautiful presentation to just sum it up, saying that the green finance benefiting the organizations of the world. And what is green finance? And you covered this topic so well, why we need to have green financing and the types of green finance, mentioning about green mortgages, green loans, and green credit cards and everything as such, and green banks, green bonds, and what are the benefits of it, encouraging the spread of technologies, development, and the environmental friendly infrastructure. That's the key point of it when we talk about sustainable finance. When we talk about sustainable finance, we're talking about finance without the actual word money, the actual rupee or the coin. So how to go about it? It's all online banking. And that's what is the whole thing is summing up as green finance and which has a comparative knowledge and how it adds the business value that you have just mentioned and how it adds or enhances the economic prospects that are involved in it. Of course, you did mention about the risk and the opportunity involved in it in comparison with the sustainable finance and green finance in the banking sector. That's going to be the rule of the world. That's what G20 is summing it up, as you rightly mentioned. Thank you so much, Ms. Divya. That was a wonderful presentation and all. Thank you. So, Ms. Sandhya, are you ready?
Sandy.
Okay, let me try. Let me try. It's okay. I will try. Don't worry.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, you
Let's
can
see
try.
what happens.
Yes, let us see.
Yeah, there we are. Just a
Okay.
second. Hope it happens. Hope it happens. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Okay. Yes, I am there. Yes. Madam Sandhya,
Yeah.
Madam Sandhya Balaji, over to you, please.
Thank you. Yes, week after week, every Sunday evening, we dedicate ourselves to the cause of a sustainable world. And here we deliberate on various topics. We began on the 9th of July to talk about Education 360, with our presidency being to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong opportunities, learning opportunities for all. And the week followed with Shakti Spectrum, which focused on women and youth empowerment. And we focused on a paradigm shift from individual development to leadership development and community partnership on both these aspects. On 23rd of July, marked our discussions on digitalization and innovation with science, stream, vocation, and employability, with the next production revolution as our main focus. On 30th of July, entrepreneurship and MSME was our focus, and our presidency was to modernize and strengthen the industrial units to make them globally competent. The month of August began with energy for resources, sources, sustainability, and employability. And our presidency was efficient and sustainable use of natural resources with 3 R's, RE dialogue. The week after, we talked about health is wealth, agriculture, and food security. Our presidency was a global view of GVC patterns, opportunities, and the role of policy. The week after, we deliberated on inclusion, financial architecture, and international growth, with our presidency being accelerated, inclusive, and resilient growth. And today, the 27th of August, 2023, we have discussed and deliberated in detail on international taxation, trade, and investments, with our presidency being to reform, reshape, and restructure and reconstitute the international tax architecture. The next week will be one of the most interesting weeks. That is on the 3rd September 2023. We will discuss and deliberate how heritage, culture, and tourism can contribute to a sustainable world. And the week after, on the 10th September 2023, we will focus on our way forward, how to attain our goals of 2030 agenda and sustainable development. Our presidency will be accelerating progress towards the SDG for an ambitious G20 action plan. On the 17th of September 2023, we will close with our validatory function and deliberate on publishing papers and patent submission. Thank you all. That's it from my side.
Thank you so much, Madam Sandhya. Yes, thank you. So next week, we are going to talk about culture. The 2 weeks that we were talking about finance, and it was really too much to handle. Money in hand and money in banks and money. And money is such thing. If you don't have also, it's a problem. And if you have too much also, then it's a big problem to handle. So in either ways, it's a big problem to handle. And overall, we handled so many situations of today, like the speaker not able to log in, and she was not able to present, and then managed it too. So we just went around. Dr. Virginia went out, she couldn't come in. I was locked out, and so I couldn't come in. So with all these things, we are learning to live, talking about sustainability, talking about metacognition abilities, talking about handling challenges and presenting it towards end of the day. There is only one word which is at the baseline of anything and everything. That's passion for doing things. Why are we really doing it on a Sunday? It's Sunday morning for Dr. Jose and Mr. Gassau, and it's Sunday evening for us from here, from UAE and from India, and I think it's Sunday afternoon from Croatia, and also for Dr. Inga, and Sunday night from India for Madam Sandhya and Divya. And why are we here? Though we are from different parts of the globe and different time schedules, we're all here for our passion. We just want to share our knowledge. We just want to share our expertise. We just want to show that how passionate we are, how we love doing this, and how we are going to contribute. And the way we are contributing to the community, that's the thing, that's the best part of it. And that we should cherish and cherish. And hope everybody will agree with me. Thank you so much. And as we all say, my own sweet saying that celebrate every single moment of your life so as to evolve as community, self-community and tenets, and that we take it forward to the community. Whatever we take from the community, we should be able to give it back to the community. That's the thing. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks one and all. And of course, a special thanks to Madam LAILA, who had joined us today. In spite of her busy schedule, she was not able to even give more time to us, but her presence was really an inspiration, and that was really a good motivation for us. Thank you so much. Thanks. I'm not missing you, Mr. Balaji. You're always there with us, and your presence is always felt, and we always keep you in our into our team, into our fold, always through Madam Sandhya Balaji, definitely. Thank you, Dr. Nada. Without Dr. Nada, nothing can happen. And she is the pillar of support. She's the great bone of inspiration, motivation for us to guide it through and through and taking it forward. And Dr. Virginia, in spite of not getting a camera working, in spite of not getting our audio working, but still she's there with all the gleaming green face over there. We love you, Dr. Virginia, for that. And definitely, Dr. Inka, thank you so much. Thanks for being there. Say that, yes, yes, you're there. Thank you. Thanks for being there with us always. And
Dr. Srividhya, how will we make today a photo? We cannot see you now, you and Dr. Virginia.
Let me try. I'm not able
Please.
to.
Oh, we see you. Great. Oh, don't move. Come back.
Okay, I'm not moving. Thank you so much. And with all these things, one person deserves to have a great mention over here is our Mr. Piyush Pandit, sir. The great inspiration, the great educationist, and there is no word. Whatever we are going to say about him, it's going to be very, very less. Without him, there is no IIU. There is no such a platform to share our thoughts. There is definitely. He has been extending all his brilliant support, whichever way that we ask for, how much ever thus we ask for, that he's always there and never ever said no to anything. That's the thing. I cannot do this, or is it difficult? No, nothing is difficult. Nothing is impossible for him. Anything and everything in the world that he's going to achieve. And he's such a brilliant person. Thank you so much, Piyush, sir, with right from the bottom of our hearts, we really. And before we leave, I just want to take one more second. As Madam Sandhya is all tucked up, dressed up today, we wish the people from South India happy Onam. I think everybody can join. Happy Onam.
Happy Onam.
If you really want to say in that language, it's Onam Ashamshakal.
Yeah.
Hridayam Nirinja Onam Ashamshakal.
Thank you so much.
Am I right, Mr. Balaji?
That's very true. And Onam is a festival that actually teaches people to be equal amongst themselves. So it says, the entire community, people, citizen will be equal in front of everyone. So that is basically the festival that we celebrate. Everyone celebrates Onam equal. So
yes, it is one for all for one.
That's true. That's true. And we're all with the bonding of love, bonding of affection, bonding of togetherness, all with one mission.
From different parts of the globe joined here. So it's a great moment to say happy Onam to all of you.
Yes, happy Onam from our side as well.
Thank you.
Yes,
and today is also our daughter's birthday, my eldest daughter's birthday.
Oh, really? Very happy birthday. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were saying something.
Right.
Let us see the most famous festivals and traditions at the next Sunday. We have culture, heritage. So we are waiting you, India, to show and us to all your rich culture and heritage. So many festivals. I say every day is something in India.
Yes, we celebrate every day.
Every day is something. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we come to the end. So once again, we want to thank to our great Sir Piyush, who is not with us, but he's watching us. He's always here. So our great esteemed speakers, our great organizers, Dr. Srividhya, Dr. Sandy, from the side of G20, to our great IIU team, all, and not, yes, of course, to our amazing audience who is supporting us every day in everything. So till tomorrow we have a session. So till tomorrow, stay safe, stay healthy, and let us continue learning and growing together. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks
I
for
hope
all
you
the
click the photo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.